Hey, hey, it's your favorite slightly hood therapist. And this morning, the day after Labor Day, I woke up with some thoughts on my mind. Now, I initially had a whole nother little vlog that I wanted to post about ADHD and anxiety, and I'm going to post it probably not today, but I wanted to really come and talk about what was on my mind this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read you the post that I made on Facebook about my thoughts, and then we're going to talk about it. This morning, out of nowhere, I woke up with a disturbing thought, and I have a question. How many childhood memories do you have of adults in your family involving you in grown folks drama, saying slick, nasty things to you because they beefing with your mama or someone close to you? Us, kids need to stay in a kid's place. Also, us, everything I just said. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the duality of our culture that says that we need to keep a child in a child's place, but we involve children in the wrong kind of grown folks' business. And so I'll explain later what I mean by the wrong grown folks kind of business, because there are things that I feel like we don't prepare our children for, because we get stuck in this old notion of keeping children in a children's place and then expecting them to be full-fledged, knowing, capable, worthy adults without knowledge. But again, as I said, I'm going to get to that later. But what I want to talk about is essentially the emotional and psychological abuse that occurs when an adult involves a child in the drama of the adults. Okay, so one of the young ladies on that post responded, and she was very candid and open. Shout out to Kaylin, love you, girl. Very candid and open about instances where she can remember that she became extremely emotional because she was in the presence of other adults who were talking horribly about her mother. And when she became emotional, these adults act, they've got no clue. They don't understand what's going on. I don't know if it's that people forget what it's like to be a child, or they really don't understand that even children who have been horribly abused by their mother or their father, by their parent who was present, more so the parent that's present. I mean, sometimes you've got a parent that's absent and there's an emotional disconnect, but there's still some type of connection. But a child, regardless of how the mother has treated them, more often than not still has a strong emotional connection and bond to their mother. So why would any adult, any brain fully formed adult, think that it is appropriate or okay to say mean, nasty, negative, hateful, awful things about a child's mother, either to that child? Of course, that is like probably the most egregious, but secondly, about the mother in front of the child. And it doesn't even have to be about the mother, but that was an example that she gave, and I think that happens so often that we just kind of accept it for what it is, but then you leave this child with this turmoil that they shouldn't even be experiencing. They should have no knowledge about the grown folks stuff that's going on between the grown folks that has absolutely nothing to do with the child. And even if it does have something to do with the child, if the child has no accountability, no ability to make any decisions, no ability to act in this situation, they should not be involved in that emotional process, that emotional warfare that these adults have. When the thoughts came to me, honestly, I'll just be candid here. One of the things that came to mind for me is that I remember I had my children fairly young. I had my son when I was 21, and I had my daughter when I was 25. But I remember having my son, and a family member said to me in a very slick way, I don't know if she thought that I was stupid or that I just wouldn't catch it. Sometimes people say things and they think that I don't know what they be thinking. They think they so smart and you so stupid, maybe. But she said, I wouldn't have thought that you would have had kids. Seeming, how your mama wasn't there with the kids. That's just, I just wouldn't have thought you'd have done that. And I was thinking to myself, B, you throwing shots at my mama? And what does that have to do with anything? I'm an adult. Okay, let me be clear here. I was an adult and I was on my own. I was finishing college. I had a job. I didn't need anybody to help me take care of the life that I was bringing into the world. So, one, how dare you make an assumption that because my mom failed some type of way in your eyes, that it was appropriate for you to say that to me. And for two, it ain't like you was the best mama out here. And we're not going to get on the fact that I shouldn't have even known maybe some of the reasons why you were not the best mama, because once again, I'm being involved in adults' business. But that is an example of an adult involving a child in adult business. And yes, at this point in this example, I was no longer a child in the sense of age, but I was a child to this adult. And you slick taking shots at somebody that I love and care about, and it was unnecessary. But that's an example of me experiencing that at an older age. There are so many examples that I could give, experiencing it as a literal child, a literal minor under the age of 18, and looking at the feedback on Facebook, it's disturbing that I have so many Facebook friends and mutuals who not only have experienced the same things, but as adults who are trying to live our lives and move differently, because we're supposed to always progress as people, that we're still experiencing it. So this video is getting long, so maybe I won't go into the catch-22, the conundrum, the dichotomy of keeping a child in a child's place and then them turning 18 and you ain't taught them nothing and want them to be adults. I'll save that for a later date. What I will say, I will end this by saying, as adults, we have responsibilities. And not just to the children that we bring into the world, but to the children that we have access to. And it's not just a physical responsibility. It's not just a responsibility to provide and to physically protect, but we are also responsible to provide emotionally and to protect emotionally. And sometimes we fail with our kids with that, with the kids that are around us. And I'm just going to encourage you guys to do better. I hope that I'm doing better. And I hope that even when I'm not doing better, that I've empowered my children to call me out when I'm not. So, happy Tuesday after Labor Day.